Okay, random talk of the day. I don't think a lot of people discuss, amongst your peers and coworkers, which is your peers, family, friends. When people call each other, we often say, how you doing? Now, you got those homeboys and you got those people that you can talk to, you can vent to. Sometimes, depending on what level you are in that relationship, you can decompress a little bit of that. You can unpack your bag on somebody. But a lot of people put their best foot forward socially in the world that we live in today, through social media, through your posts. You went on vacation here, you're so happy there, you got this job here, everything is pretty, it's buffed out. It's a buffed out language of all your bullshit doesn't normally reach the masses, in the sense that all the shit that doesn't truly matter reaches. So, and I feel like, which is crazy, but therapists, you take all the bullshit aside, you pay for somebody to listen that listens to people. They're paid for it. Now, I understand you get that license and you go to school so you can understand human brain and psychology behind what people are going through and how to handle it, depending on, what kind of therapist it is. But ultimately, you're paying somebody to listen. Back in the day before social media, I feel like in the phones, I'm kind of on the last generation. I was born in 95, on the last generation where you can unplug. I don't necessarily, I have a Facebook, keep up with, old army friends, things of that nature. I have an Instagram. I use that primarily for my business, which is in the works. It's not something that I use all the time, or if I'm looking for ideas and inspiration, I kind of dabble on that for that algorithm. Point is, I think we feel more alone because we don't truly talk about the things we want to talk about with each other or amongst each other. It's different. I have children that I talk to like human beings, and I know they don't understand it now because my father talked to me like a human being. And when I was little, that's just dad. It's just something that, oh no, that's just dad. It's something that we roll with. That, hold on, damn, thought that was a cop. Thought I was about to get my ass. Whew. That's made my heart race, considering I ain't got no insurance and I was speeding a little bit, not a little, above 5. If you meet a dickhead cop, they'll get you for anything. But sorry, back to my random car rant. The world, the world that we live in is just primarily a facade, and if you're never gonna find your own true self, even if you're quote unquote unplugged, because you're not decompressing, you're not making those connections. We're all networked into the social media, but really ain't networked into society in a way that can, in most cases, in a way that you can upgrade and build off of. Our relationships are all primitive. I feel like you can't, and I mean, I guess that's life in general too. My parents, I don't see them necessarily talking to their high school friends or, lifelong friends. I don't think my dad has that many friends, which I feel like every adult, your circle gets smaller and smaller. They kind of preach you that, you can't hang on to everybody, especially when you've developed alone for years. So I think it weighs heavy on a lot of people's instinct and minds, and we can't socially understand, with technology updating, new iPhones, everything is so fast paced that we don't have the time to psychologically evolve how this technology upgrades. It's the evolution that we are stuck in, but now we create stuff, technology that surpasses us and is at a learning rate that's faster than we can, compute within our brains type thing. I think it'll be an issue in the future. Sounds lame, but maybe like the Matrix, something at some point, and not saying it's going to be on some Terminator thing, but at this point now, we are already at a disconnect where the bomb's already going off type shit, and we won't realize it until our great grandkids come out the womb with a cell phone and some cellular service device plugged into the internet. Now my kids have, at the age of 7 and 4, both have tablets with service. Now they do a lot of vacation and traveling, so their mother decided to get them that, just so in the sense of, they can watch the little things, whatever, on a trip and stuff like that. But it's evolved into an everyday usage thing. Like if I allowed them to be on their tablets all day, they would. They don't really necessarily pay attention to their surroundings like I would like. And so I try to give them doses of humanity, in the sense of socially being able to talk to somebody and unplug, put down that screen and look at somebody and have a grown conversation with them, to whatever intellectual capacity. I have them say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, ordering their food, so they understand how to interact with a human being without looking down at their phone type thing. They don't have phones, but I'm saying, like, if we're out, I'll have my youngest child say, what she wants, and let her give her own order, so she's not stuck. Now, I don't know if this is going to make any type of sense, but I hope it socially allows her to understand that while she is in a generation or a world where everybody is plugged in, my mom sends me more I don't have a TikTok, but my mom sends me more TikToks and shit like that than I could have ever imagined. And I grew up in a point where we didn't have phones at the table. Now we don't have conversations at the table. I feel like that's interesting in the family units. There's a divide between everybody, and then we wonder why everybody's socially awkward when nobody's being able to decompress, and then they wonder why this anxiety, why these emotions are building up, because they have 5,000 notifications about what's going on in the world, and we can't see that we could be having a state of emergency and nobody would be able to tell, because so much shit is being shown to us at once that we're desensitized. And I think it's going to make huge impacts on the younger generation and their ability to be socially aware. We have school shooters now, people that can't handle their emotions now. The future is going to be worse, because these kids never have the chance to unplug. They don't know how to be grounded and sit in a room alone, and they don't know how to handle not being connected to the internet or the world, really. So now they're going to be juggling these emotions because all they know is how to be plugged in. So just a random rant. I hope the world, it's too late now, but I'm saying I hope, one day we're able to see that we had a chance as humanity, but I think we did it to ourselves. And now all we can do is advance. Maybe we can spread awareness and use the positive aspects of social media to overcome our mistakes. But I highly doubt it. I'm not trying to sound negative, but it's just kind of where we are in the world today type thing. And as for me, being aware of this and self-awareness and having children that I'm trying to put this on, I myself, like I said, coming from a family that had Sunday breakfast and was always very close to my family, and I went to the Army. It was kind of like 5 years alone. You get the occasional phone call, how they miss you and this, and now that, it doesn't matter. Nobody sees each other. I don't talk to any of my family. And it's almost at the point now where it's like, sucks to say, between COVID and being pushed myself in a box in a corner, dealing with life on my own growing up, I don't really see much point in it. So I know family's forever. There's obviously a point in family, but it's just like, how do you reconnect with somebody that you disconnected from? You know what I'm saying? I've had the same talk with my uncles last year, and I told them, we don't talk to each other. You know, I can love you. You could be blood. I'll still help you out with whatever I can, but I'll talk to you next year when we're talking about how we didn't talk type thing. And it's not even because I don't hold no guilt or anything like that. Not guilt. I don't hold no, it's not me being an asshole or anything. It's just the reality of where I'm at personally, but it's just the reality of, I guess, life and how it is. I don't know if it's like that for everybody else, but it's kind of at a point where it's like, you know, you got to just kind of worry about your immediate family. The only people I worry about now is pretty much my children and then me. Everything else is just extra, which sounds terrible saying, but it's just the reality that I feel like I face it. I don't know how I got to this point. I mean, I know how, but I don't think there's a going back type thing. But we'll see how life is. All right, YouTube, I'm outie. Peace.